Okay, gonna show you the model railroad, and I'll get behind the camera, so follow me. Okay, so here's the model railroad back here, and also it's an HO gauge. And here's some American flyers, it looks like, and also 25 cents per train. Pretty cool. And also, it allows the train to run, which is pretty nice. What you see right behind me is Cora, Texas Plantation 108. Cora, Texas Plantation 108 was built by Henry Kirk Porter in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania in 1897 and is the 1783rd steam locomotive built by that factory and is an 044T tank engine Forney type steam locomotive. Cora, Texas Plantation 108 was built to burn coal and originally built for Andrew H. Gay, a dealer at Plaquemine, Louisiana, then sold to the Union Plantation and numbered and given the road name is Cora, Texas Plantation 1 at White Castle, Louisiana, then renumbered 805, then later on was numbered as 108, then sold to El Rey Coke Service Incorporated dealer in 1953, sold to Harold Allen Casimir Samborski at Ann Arbor, Michigan. Then in 1972 sold to Marriott Corporation in Dayton, Ohio. Then in 1979 was moved to Gurnee, Illinois. Then 1983 was donated to the Illinois Railway Museum in Union, Illinois. And then came to be part of the Forney Museum of Transportation in Denver, Colorado, when the museum was formerly located on 15th and Platt Street, and then when it was moved with the museum to Brighton Boulevard as well, and can be seen on the platform level as well as, and can be seen at the new location where it is today and seen on platform level. And this locomotive, however, is believed to have been used probably for elevated train lines. What you see right behind me is the Forney and Central Platte Valley Railway Coach. The Forney and Central Platte Valley Railway Coach was built by Svenska Ironworks in Sweden in 1909 and is a Swedish rail combo car. The Forney and Central Platte Valley Railway Coach was originally used for a railway in Sweden. This combination car is one of two of its kind brought to the United States from Sweden. The car has 4 rooms, 2 of which are the size of small closets. The 2 small rooms are a toilet closet and a mail sorting room. The 2 larger areas carried passengers and baggage. Also, this car then came over to America and named with the railroad as Forney and Central Platte Valley Railway. Also, this car went to be part of Midwest Central Railroad in Mount Pleasant, Iowa, and then purchased by the Forney Museum of Transportation in Denver, Colorado, and the museum was formerly located on 15th and Platt Street, and then when it was moved with the museum to Brighton Boulevard as well, and can be seen on the platform level as well. Also, this car is even a coach and a caboose from Sweden. A coach and a caboose at the same time, and from Sweden as well. And seen at the Forney Museum here in Denver today.
Okay, as you could see here, here's a bell that is next to the big boy, and you can ring it, but it says here, ring only once, and I'll ring it with me behind the camera and me in front of the camera, so here it goes. And that's how you see right behind me is the Cagney Brothers steam locomotive.
The Cagney Brothers locomotive was built by the Cagney Locomotive Works around the late 1800s or the 1900s, and is a 440 American type steam locomotive. This locomotive was built to run on 15-inch scale tracks and was used as an attraction at an amusement park, maybe an amusement park, or maybe was used here in Denver, Colorado at Lakeside Amusement Park, or maybe somewhere else. It may have been used to haul the train. Also, the locomotive's number is unknown, and it burnt coal. Also, this locomotive was retired and then came to be part of the Forney Museum of Transportation in Denver, Colorado afterwards.
Okay, what you see right here is the Cagney Brothers cars. These are here on display in the museum behind the steam locomotive, and so it seems okay to sit in these cars, and they may have been used at an amusement park as well. Okay, so this bell you see right here is a railroad bell, in the 1934 president of the Baltimore and Ohio Railroad presented to the bell, Otto Kohler, the designer of the famous Royal Blue train. The bell came from the Royal Blue locomotive, and says here, ring it gently. Go now. And that's how it's done. What you see right behind me is Denmark Railway 7.
Denmark Railway 7 was built by Henschel & Son in Kassel, Germany in 1930, and is the 21/839th steam locomotive built by that factory, and is an 040T tank engine, four-wheeler type steam locomotive. This locomotive was used for and has worked for an unknown Danish railway line in Denmark, as if it was on the Denmark Railway. Also, this locomotive was built to run on a 600mm gauge rail line over in Denmark. Later on, the locomotive was retired, and then in 1961, the locomotive was sold to Arthur Seifert. And then in 1962, Arthur sold the locomotive to the Forney Museum of Transportation in Denver, Colorado, and the locomotive was moved over to the United States by ship from the European country and came into Denver and put in the museum's collection in 1962. Then, in the 1990s, the locomotive had been moved over to the new location of the museum, and I think it was hauled on a flatbed when transferring. Also, the locomotive was moved into the museum building and put on the platform level and can be seen here on display today.
You see right behind me is Union Pacific 4005.
Union Pacific 4005 was built by Alco in Schenectady, New York in 1941 and is the 96th steam locomotive built by that factory, and is a 4884 big boy type steam locomotive, and this locomotive is known as a big boy, and the locomotive's class is 48841. The big boys are one of the articulated steam locomotives built. This locomotive is known to be the largest steam locomotive in the world, one of the largest. And when Big Boy 4000 rolled out of the factory in Schenectady, New York, one of the guys climbed on the pilot deck and chalked on the smoke box door and wrote Big Boy on it, and that's how these locos got the name Big Boy. Also, the Big Boys ran between Cheyenne, Wyoming, and Ogden, Utah. 4005 hauled freight up Sherman Hill in Wyoming when it was still operating. In 1946, 4005 was the only big boy converted to burn oil. The test lasted through March 1948, but the firebox design did not allow the oil fire to develop sufficient heat to produce the required steam pressure. So Union Pacific 4005 was returned to coal. Also in 1953, Union Pacific 4005 was in a train wreck, and it was the only one of its type that was involved in a train wreck. Also, Union Pacific 4005 was retired and was in storage at Green River, Wyoming, and became part of Union Pacific's Heritage Collection, housed in Cheyenne, Wyoming. Then in 1970, the locomotive was donated to the Forney Museum of Transportation in Denver, Colorado, when the museum was by the Platte River, and in the 1990s, Union Pacific 4005 was moved on panel tracks to the new location of the Forney Museum of Transportation on Brighton Boulevard and can be seen on display track level as well. Also, Union Pacific 4005 is one of 8 surviving big boys left in the world today and can be found here. 4005 can be found here at the Forney Museum of Transportation in Denver, Colorado today. And also you can even step on the footplate of the locomotive and view the cab. And the cab is open for... The inside of the cab is open for the museum's event, Big Boy Weekend, as well.
What you see right behind me is Union Pacific 900,099.
Union Pacific 90,099 was built in 1909 and is a rotary snowblower. This rotary snowblower was originally built for the Laramie, North Park, and Pacific Railroad, as Laramie and Laramie North Park and Pacific 099, and the line went 111 miles line through from Laramie to Wyoming, Wyoming to Colmont, Colorado. In 1935, the Union Pacific gained control and ran the line under the Laramie North Park and Western name until 1951, when the companies merged the line, becoming the Colmont branch of the Union Pacific. The rotary snowblower was then renumbered Union Pacific 90,099. The rotary mechanism at the front of the plow was operated by a self-contained steam engine inside the snowplow, but the plow could not move under its own power. It had to be pushed by 3 or 4 locomotives from the rear. With this assistance, it was apparently able to clear snowdrifts as high as 15 inches. Also, Union Pacific 90,099 has a tender behind it that was once a Vanderbilt tender from a steam engine. Then, later on, Union Pacific 90,099 came to be part of the Forney Museum of Transportation in Denver, Colorado, when the museum was located on 15th and Platt Street, and along with the other museum equipment that got moved to Brighton Boulevard. And this rotary snowblower can be seen here at the Forney Museum of Transportation, where it is today.
What you see right behind me is Chicago Northwestern 444.
Chicago Northwestern 444 was built by Alco in Schenectady, New York in 1906 and is the 385/26th steam locomotive built by that factory, and is a 260 10-wheeler type steam locomotive and is an R1 class steam locomotive. Chicago Northwestern 444 was once used on the Chicago Northwestern Railroad many years ago, and I think it hauled freight and maybe passenger during this locomotive's career on the Chicago Northwestern Railroad. Then in the 1950s, Chicago Northwestern 444 was retired, and then in 1958 was sold to the Black Hills Central Railroad in Hill City, South Dakota. Then in 1968, the locomotive was sold to the Forney Museum of Transportation in Denver, Colorado, and was part of the museum's collection when the museum was located on 15th and Platt Street. Then, along with other exhibits that were moved to the new location of the Forney Museum, Chicago Northwestern 444 got moved on panel trucks to the new side of the museum on Brighton Boulevard. Also, Chicago Northwestern 444 is one of 3 surviving Chicago Northwestern 460s left in the world today, and Chicago Northwestern 444 can be found here at the Forney Museum of Transportation here in Denver, Colorado today.
What you see right behind me is Denver Tramway 77.
Denver Tramway Company 77 was built by Wober Carriage Company in Denver, Colorado in 1906 and is a streetcar. Denver Tramway Company 77 was used on the more heavily patronized Northwest Denver Berkeley line, and the Denver Northwestern Railways ran to Golden and Leyden. Denver Tramway Company 77 was assigned to the Berkeley line and pulled trailers during rush hour. Denver Tramway Company 77 was operated by two people. The conductor was in charge of operating the car, collecting the fares in the center of the car, this signaling to the motorman when to go forward, stop, or back up by a series of bell rings. In the 1930s, streetcars were beginning to be replaced by petroleum-fueled and electric trolley buses. In 1946, Denver Tramway Corp. Disposed of all of the 76 through 78 series, including this car. Although this car was never scrapped, Denver Tramway Company 77 was found on a private property near Conifer, Colorado, being used as a playhouse by the owner's children. In 1978, Denver Tramway Company 77 was acquired and moved to the Forney Museum of Transportation in Denver, Colorado, and in 2014, restoration was complete by the museum volunteers and can be seen on display as well.
Well, I hope you all enjoyed learning about trains with me today in Matthew Lab Train Guy segment show. Also, I hope to see you all again in the next segment. So this is Matthew Lab, host of Matthew Lab Train Guy segment show, signing out until next time. All aboard.